In this first inequality, we have 9 minus x is greater than 10. Anytime you have a situation like this, always pay attention to the symbol that comes in front of the number. In this case, our x is being subtracted, which makes x negative. Subtraction and negative numbers are the same thing. So over here, since there is no symbol in front of that 9, it is implied that it is positive or that 9 is being added. The inverse of that, of a positive 9, would be a negative 9 or subtracting 9. If you do it on one side of the inequality, you must do it to the other. These cancel and we're left with a negative x is greater than 1. We do not want a negative x, we want x by itself. In earlier years, we learned that every variable has a 1 in front of it. If it is a variable by itself, it is implied that it is 1. So if we have an x, it is a 1x. If we have a negative x, we have a negative 1x. Since we have a negative 1 attached to the x, that means we are actually multiplying by a negative 1. To get rid of that negative or that negative 1 in front of the x, we must divide both sides by negative 1. So when we do that, our negative 1's will cancel. 1 divided by negative 1 is going to be negative 1. Since we divided by a negative, we must flip our symbol. So instead of greater than, we must flip it to a less than symbol. Remember, on a number line, numbers to the left are less and numbers to the right are greater. There needs to be a negative 1 on our number line because that is the number we have in our inequality, and x is less than negative 1, meaning we will have an open circle on negative 1 and we will shade to the left for all the numbers less than negative 1. In our last example, our variable is actually on the right-hand side. That's okay. Leave it there until we get to the end. We need to get the term x divided by 2 by itself, so to do that, we need to get rid of this adding 1. The inverse of adding 1 is subtracting 1. You must do that to both sides of the inequality. The 1's will cancel out. We're left with x over 2 on the right-hand side and a positive 2 on the left-hand side. You just bring down your symbol. Since we are dividing by 2, we must multiply by 2 so that we can cancel out. Whatever you do on one side, you must do to the other. 2 times 2 is 4, and we're left with x on the right-hand side. We have the less than symbol, and since we divided by a positive number, we will not flip that symbol. We will keep the less than symbol in between our numbers. The only thing is, because the x is on the right-hand side, it's a little harder to graph. We can write an equivalent inequality by moving the x to the left and the 4 to the right. When you do this, you just need to make sure that the inequality does not change. 4 is less than x. Since our alligator is eating the x, that makes x the larger number. So when we turn it around, we need to make sure x stays larger and the 4 is still smaller. So 4 is less than x is the same thing as saying x is greater than 4. So this is the inequality that is easier to graph. Remember, when graphing, numbers to the left are less and numbers to the right are greater. 4 needs to be on our graph, and since we have a greater than symbol, we will have an open circle. Since x is all the numbers in the world greater than 4, this time we are going to shade our graph to the right to signify all of the numbers greater than 4.